What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we are going to be talking about a white nectarine tea from David's Tea and the relatively inexpensive Pilot 78G fountain pen. It's okay. That's my official verdict of David's Tea White Nectarine. This is a sample size bag, so as you can see, it's not the normal bag you would get. It says, this amazingly fresh and fruity white tea tastes just like biting into a perfectly ripe nectarine. The ingredients are apricot, white tea, blackberry leaves, safflowers, whatever that is, and natural nectarine flavoring. It says contains sulfites. I don't really know what that means. I don't really care for it, so I probably wouldn't buy it again. But anyway, you take about a tablespoon and a half. In this case, you just pour the whole bag. Put it into 90 degrees Celsius water or 194 degrees Fahrenheit. Let it steep for about 4 to 5 minutes, and it's very low in caffeine. I can definitely see why it says white nectarine. You do get a very nectarine, peachy type flavor. That's unmistakable. You definitely get that. What I don't like is that it is a little bit tart, so I did have to add sugar to it. And for teas like this, I typically don't like to add sugar or anything to it. I just like to drink as is. But this one was far too tart for me to do that. Potentially, it could get much better if I iced it. Downside to only having the sample size is you can only make it once. A lot of the teas that I find very tart when they're hot will lose that when they become iced. And a lot more of the natural sweet flavor will come out when it's iced rather than hot. Don't ask me why, I don't know. If any of you do, please feel free to educate me down in the comment section below. I would appreciate it. This isn't a tea that I would consider like disgusting by any means. I enjoy that peachy nectarine flavor. It's just a little too tart for me. So I don't think I would buy it again. It is $11.98 for 50 grams, and it only comes out during the summer. So it isn't available quite yet from David's Tea, but it has come out the last few years during the summer, so I imagine it would come back. I'm also in super big trouble this year because the local mall in my town is finally getting a David's Tea. Rather than me having to drive like 40 minutes to get to one and or just order online. So, oh boy, my wallet is going to be in big, big trouble. But something that won't make your wallet be in big, big trouble, all of the segues, is this pen right here. So this is a Pilot pen. It's a Japanese fountain pen company, and it's, well, I still have the sticker on it. It's just called the 78G. There's no fancy name to it, which is pretty much indicative of this pen in general. There's nothing fancy about it. So I have the teal finish with gold trim. So you get basically a solid teal with a gold clip, which works pretty darn well. You get 2 center bands here in gold. The bottom one is slightly thicker than the top, and at the very back it just says Japan in the middle. Slight taper down to the end of the barrel, and there's absolutely nothing going on. So this is a relatively mute pen. There's a couple other finishes that you can get in this as well. If you unscrew the barrel from the cap, you reveal again, nothing going on. You just get some of the threads, and you get a very basic gold colored steel nib. If you unscrew the body, you reveal the Pilot Con 20, aka their squeeze bladder. These are also very typical with the Pilot Metropolitans. They work pretty decently. You can eyedropper convert this. This is just solid plastic. So, pop a little silicone grease around the threads there, and, you're free to fly. This pen can be posted. It's just push to post. It's a very light pen. Very light pen. It's solid plastic, so there's nothing going on. So I can use this posted, and I don't feel any different really than using it unposted. it really adds nothing to it. It's basically like using a feather. This is probably one of the lightest pens that I own for still being a full-size pen. So definitely if you like very, very light pens, you will certainly like this one. The nib, there's absolutely nothing really going on there. It just says Pilot Super Quality Japan M for medium. And the feed is, again, like their typical Pilot Metropolitan feeds. It writes a lot of the same, it feels the same, it's just significantly lighter because the Metropolitan is made out of metal, whereas this is all plastic. So Canadian dollars, retail pricing, you will find this one for about $16.50. You can find it a little bit less if you don't go to like retail stores, but retail pricing $16.50 rather. So Americans, that puts you, again, retail pricing around $12.50. Again, you can probably find it a little bit cheaper. I will say though that the 78G is becoming a little bit harder to find in North America than it is in Japan, obviously. And I'm not really sure why. I think this would make a great entry-level pen for somebody. Because it is super cheap, there's no real investment. You do notice, like if you listen, you can hear those threads. It's plastic on plastic, so there's no smooth action on that. But for what it is, I mean, really, I cannot blame it. And my doorbell just rang. Sorry about that, guys. A friend of mine just sent me a package in the mail. Oh, I love it when that happens. So back to the pen. Yeah, so I really like it. I mean, it's definitely cheap. It's definitely, one that you're going to get what you pay for. You can see a very fine line down the body of the pen from where it is made. So, I mean, the finishes aren't superb quality, but again, great starter pen. I kind of like it, to be honest. This would be a pen that I would have no qualms about whatsoever handing over to somebody who's never touched a fountain pen in their life, and be like, yeah, here you go, have a try. I wouldn't think twice about lending it to somebody. So I think it would be a really cool pen for that. Let me turn the camera around, give my voice a little bit of a break, and show you what this bad boy can do. Okay, so as you can see during that writing sample, my thumb sits on the threads the entire time, but they're very shallow, so they feel very nice. The grip section is a little bit narrow, probably more narrow than I would like. Maybe anything more than 20 to 30 minutes worth of writing, I would probably want to grab another pen because it is a little bit narrow, but the overall writing I actually quite enjoy. So this is Clairefontaine paper. The ink is Caran d'Ache Delicate Green, and this is a medium steel nib from Pilot. So it's quite smooth. You really don't notice anything as far as like scratchy or anything like that. I would say it drags just a slight little bit, enough to realize that you are moving something against paper. I mean, it's not like Visconti butter smooth or anything like that, but it is pretty darn smooth. Their gold nibs are a little bit better than these, but these are pretty dang good. For reverse writing, you can, but I don't know if you can hear that. It's very scratchy. You can feel the nib basically pulling fibers out of the paper. It's not pleasant. As far as line variation goes, not much to be had. This is quite a stiff nib, but I would not expect anything other than a stiff nib in a pen of this price point with such a basic steel nib. There's really nothing going on here. But that said, I've never really had any hard start issues. I've never had any flow issues. I've never really had any issues whatsoever with this pen. So I'm actually super impressed. For the price point, and this is just a sticker, by the way, you can peel it off. For the price point that is offered with this, I really like it. I do recommend it. Just even if you want a pen, like I said, that you wouldn't be afraid to lend out to anybody. But guys, that's going to be enough for me today. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. If you really like the video and haven't yet done so already, hit this icon in the center of the screen that will subscribe you to the channel so that you don't miss any reviews that come out Monday and Friday, as well as the occasional Q&A on Tuesday. Don't be afraid of that comment section below. Certainly don't be afraid to answer any other questions that you see asked by your peers. And guys, as always, I will see you next time. Bye.